Hi everyone, Luke here. In this video I'd just like to talk briefly about using dynamics with Chain Move 2. This works pretty much the same as it did in the previous plugin. Just for the sake of completion, I'll just go through it with this setup that we used in the previous video, the basics tutorial. So with this scene that we've got our chain, and we've got the chain moving around this cog. Everything's working fine. What I want to do is have this chain hanging down over this cog and just have the bottom of the chain sort of swinging in the wind or reacting to dynamic objects, things like that. So I'm going to grab the chain move object and rotate it 90 degrees down. It's still lining up okay. What I'm just going to do is just change the start displacement so that lines up a little better. Okay, everything's working there, which is nice. And basically what you have to do is we need to create a weight map so the top part doesn't react to dynamics, because this part has got to be it's got to stay here and react only to chain move, and that way it'll stick to the cog exactly where it should be. All this other stuff down here that's not actually attached to the cog, it doesn't really matter where that is. That can sort of swing around, and that should be okay. So if we go over to Modeler, I'll just load up the object. I'll just get the path layer here. So let's grab these guys, and I want these to be fixed in position. I'm going to use cloth FX to do this. So I'll just call these guys fix. So if we have a look in weight shade, we can see nothing because it's a 2-point polychain. I'll just check the values. Yeah, we've got a weight map. That's great. So we'll synchronize this, switch to layout. Now with the path object, if I come the object with the chain move instance on, I'll come over here to FX tab, let's select cloth, fix. We want that to be our weight map, so it should fix this bit in the top, and let's just put -9.8 for gravity, and stretch limit I always put very, very low. You can't put it to 0 for some reason, but you can put it to a very low number. Okay, that's calculating. You see the chain reacting with the cloth effects there. That's not so bad. I want it to be a bit more stiff at the bottom. Let's see if we can do that. Let's do maybe let's go for a value of 20. That's a little bit better. It's not pinching so much at the end now. But now this allows us to, we can just add dynamic object. Let's just add a collision object. And let's just make their paths intersect. It's going to make that a little bit bigger. Let's just have it move through the path there. Let's see how that looks. Yep, that's brilliant. Forgot to add the collision, that would actually help. There we go. That might be a bit extreme. So let's just move this down a touch so it's not destroying the chain so much. More sort of a gentle brush by rather than a smack that it's doing at the moment. So the bottom line is this is just a 2-point polychain, and you can treat it like any other 2-point polychain, and the chain links will respect that and they will follow along that path, whatever the path is, no matter what's actually affecting it. So you can even drive this with MDDs or things like that and everything will still follow. Terrible example. Let's just put this, just make it sort of smoosh into it here. Okay, yeah, here's something interesting. See all these popping and flipping? Now this is because what chain move uses to align these link pieces, you can see they're not symmetrical. They don't have the little nub on this side, they only have it on this side. So if you don't have a symmetrical object, you can tell when it flips around. Because sometimes they pop and instantly flip around, and other times you can, like here, you can see them sort of rotating around. The reason for that is it needs a sort of bearing direction to know which direction is up. When you're telling this to a link to follow along this path, obviously a path, a point to point, is a 2-point polygon is just a sort of a two-dimensional line. Really, you can rotate freely about that line and you'll still be aligned to it. So it needs a reference direction to know which direction is up. Usually what it uses is the center of the path, but you can use a different object if you wish. If you have times like this when just using the center doesn't really work, then there's an option here for up item. So if I make a null, call this up. So it just needs to be something that's above these points, just needs to be inside of this the path item here. Oops. Let's tell this to use up. Let's see how this works. Oh, you can see these guys are passing over it now, so they're flipping. Don't want that. Let's get this back here. Okay, it should be okay as long as it's inside. Occasionally you may need to animate it. Yeah, there we go, you can see it's happening up here again. Because this chain is everything's sort of bunching up quite a lot here. Just move this up a bit. It's a bit better. Still flipping there. Because you can see the direction that this is pointing is above this item. So in this may be a case of where it's not actually possible to sort that out. Because if I put it up here, some of these guys down at the bottom may start flipping. Ooh, just. There may actually be a sweet spot. Or somewhere even where the flipping's just not quite noticeable. That's not so bad. That seems to work. But yeah, you can also get some interesting effects with this up object by so if I just move it off to the side, they'll all align their up vectors to this direction. Again, probably not what you're looking for, but you can do that, and you can animate this as well if you really want to. If I move this over here, you can see this happens. They'll look towards that object. Okay, hope this was of some use, and see you next time.